Hi everyone, it's Beatrice here with another video. Just like I promised, I'm going to continue my story about how I got my Social Security disability approved. And I live in Puerto Rico now because I was medically retired probably 5 years ago, and my husband just retired back in April. So we now live on this tropical island where I can wear shorts and sandals 365 days out of the year. So if you are in a part of the country that is in snow and ice, I feel sorry for you because I did live in Colorado, Germany, England didn't have that much snow. So I've kind of lived all over the place. But anyway, we are here to continue the story of me. If you watched the previous video, once I moved to Germany with my husband, I became what's called an expat. So I couldn't continue work. Texas couldn't keep my disability case. They had to transfer it over to Maryland. But you know, with the Social Security Administration, everything is so easy. It was seamless. And I'm really joking when I say that. I'm going to be using a lot of sarcasm. So I'm in Germany again. If you are in the process or have been in the process before, you know, you have to become resilient and be patient because they're going to make you wait. There is nothing about the Social Security that's going to be rushed. So if I teach you anything, just remember, you must look in yourself and pick out as much patience as you can possibly muster up, okay? So, moved to Germany. I don't speak German. I can say, es tut mir leid, ich spreche kein Deutsch, which means I don't speak German, but yet the people that I said that to. So my husband and I are now, imagine yourself, we're living in Germany. And then one day I get the call. I either got a call, it's been a few years. It's been maybe 5 years. So I don't remember everything exactly, but it was about 5 years ago. So I get the call. Hi, is this so-and-so? Yes, okay, well, we have your packet, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay. And they said, we need you to have a medical exam. I said, okay, well, what do I need to do? Okay, well, you need to get yourself to XYZ hospital, blah, 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 and then you're gonna see Dr. XYZ. And I said, but I remember 5 years ago, I was very, very, very sick. This video wouldn't have even happened. And I remember saying, I'm so sick today, I can't go, I can't get there. And basically he just said, you either go to the exam or you can just forget about your Social Security disability. So again, like I told you, you must find deep within all the patience that you can muster up. My husband traveled a lot, and so he was not there to help me get to the doctor. So I remember, I think I even called a car service to come and get me. I couldn't even drive. It was just horrible. So the day came, the appointment came, and I remember thinking, well, I might as well make the best of it. So I said, I'm gonna get my makeup on, try to look decent, try to look my best, because in my mind, I thought, oh, he's probably gonna be this young, handsome German doctor with tall blonde hair and blue eyes, and you know, I want to make a great impression. So I get to the appointment. Oh dear Lord, I did not get that tall, blonde, blue-eyed German doctor. I walk in, and what I got was the equivalent of Albert Einstein. And I hope I am not offending anyone. I am not offending anyone. I'm just telling you my story, the way it happened, and the facts. I proceeded for the exam, and I'm sorry that I am giggling, because he truly was like Albert Einstein. Oh, so you go to the exam, and they do the whole thing. Let me see your leg, all these, testing and blah, blah, blah. And luckily for me, he spoke English at least. And at the end of that exam, he basically said to me that he has seen other patients worse than me, and they go back to work. So he basically said, you're gonna go back to work, because that's how I felt. He was telling me, basically in that exam room, I'm not gonna approve it, because I've had people come in here and get mastectomies. Women, they come in here and they say, oh, I can't work, but you know what? He says, I tell them, all you had was a mastectomy, so you better go back to work. You're not too sick. So I said, oh my goodness, wow. There's also a cultural difference between people in the United States, people in Germany, people in other countries, and I get it. But I think he could have had a little bit better bedside manner. But whatever, I left, went home, then got the letter that I was denied the second time. I was denied twice. What you have to remember is, now I'm in Germany. I'm in a different country. So I pick up the phone and start calling lawyers in the United States. Why did I start calling the lawyers in the United States, you ask? I'm glad you asked. Because Germany doesn't have the same Social Security. And sorry I keep doing that, but I do that a lot. The same Social Security administration that the United States does. So we're talking apples to oranges. They're not going to understand what I need. Okay. So since now my package was now in Maryland, I started calling lawyers in Maryland. And calling, hi, my name is so-and-so. I am an American citizen. However, I'm an expat and I live in Germany. And I need a lawyer to help me file because I need to appeal. I've been denied my Social Security benefits twice. This was the second time. They're like, excuse me, what? Wait, what do you need? I said, well, I need an attorney now. Obviously, the first time I applied, I thought I was doing a good job and did everything right because, again, OPM had approved me. So they said, oh, no, you're not going to find anybody here to help you. Where did you start that case? Well, I started it in Texas. Well, you just have to start calling Texas. If you are not an expat and trying to fill this stuff out, right now, light a candle and count yourself lucky, because being an expat and trying to get your Social Security disability on top of your illness is just another level of frustration that you do not need nor want. So I made many calls, many calls to different lawyers in the United States. They all said, we're sorry, but you live in Germany and we don't deal with stuff like that over there. So the bottom line is I didn't get the opportunity to have an attorney on the second time I was going to appeal it. So I had to dig in my own toolbox of knowledge and knowing of different computer programs. I went back into the Social Security website and I applied the appeal again. So this was my second appeal. Again, the questions, the litany of questions. Why are you appealing this? We think you can go back to work, blah, blah, blah. You're not sick enough, all that good stuff. So again, I submitted it. And then what happens now? You wait again, because you didn't wait enough the first time. They're going to make you wait again. Again, I'm not talking days of waiting. I'm talking months. Months. So if any of you watching my video think that I do not understand your pain, struggles, suffering, anger, anguish, I could go on. I understand. So again, you wait and you wait and you wait. Then I was living in Germany with my husband, and this thing came along. It was called something like the coronavirus, COVID-19. So I was in Germany, right? And I was watching the news, and I was just watching the news, and there was this village. There was this little village in Italy. And I remember some man had traveled to Italy from Germany, and that whole village in Italy was now, they were sequestered. They were like, they couldn't go anywhere. And I remember thinking, what does that have to do with Germany? And then the rest of the news was, well, that man has come back to Germany. There was a visitor, a guest at that village in Italy, flew back to Germany, and now the village where he lives, they are under seclusion. So this man had come back from Italy and went to the doctor's office in Germany. And when he got to the doctor's office, they said, oh my goodness, you have this virus. We don't really know what it is. Well, it started snowballing. Well, where were you? Oh, I was in Italy. Oh my, were you in that village in Italy where now it's quarantined and they're on lockdown and nobody can get in and out of that village in Italy? Why, yes, I was. And so I'm looking at the map where we lived in Germany, and I said, oh my gosh, that village isn't that far from where we are. I'm sorry, I have to tell you, if you were in my shoes, you would have been having some anxiety, okay? I said to my husband, oh my goodness. Now, my husband and I were going to fly to Puerto Rico here to close on our home because we were planning to live here as our retirement place. So this was about 5 years ago, right? And I said, we were supposed to fly home and close at the bank. And I got very worried. And I said to my husband, did you know that there was this man coming from Italy and now he's in a village in Germany that's not too far from here? They're getting ready to lock down that village. I said, I'm thinking I better get out of Germany and go to Puerto Rico. And he couldn't because he still had some business to tend to. So he said, go ahead, get out of Germany before they start closing whatever it is. At that point, it was kind of like, COVID, well, we're not sure, blah, blah, blah. I think people are over exaggerating, blah, blah, blah. So I said, okay. So I made a reservation, and I think it was just in a couple of days, I got on a flight. And let me tell you, I got on that flight at Frankfurt Airport, and it was a huge airline. I mean, a huge plane. And I'm not kidding you. I think there were 3 of us on that plane. I'm not kidding you. It was empty. It was empty. So I made it out of Germany, came to Puerto Rico. At that time, we were staying with my in-laws because we were going to buy a house. We were going to go to the bank. So at least my husband had said, well, at least you go and then make sure that you're there. At least you can go to the bank and close on the house, and I can give you, power of attorney or whatnot. Okay. So I get to Puerto Rico, and then about a week later, my husband was able to get out of Germany, flew to Puerto Rico. Everything was great. The bank had the paperwork. They said, on this day, you're going to come in and you're going to sign the paperwork, and you're going to be homeowners. You're going to buy your house in Puerto Rico. And by the way, this is my house. In another video, I'll give you a tour, but not right now. So I said, this is great news. So my husband was in here. We were at my mother-in-law's for about maybe a few days before our appointment. Again, I'm in the bedroom getting ready, combing my hair, putting on my makeup, getting ready. And he comes in the room and he says, I don't know how to tell you this, but we're not going to close on the house today. And I said, oh my God, you are so hilarious. You are funny. Thank you for that. That's funny. Continue putting my makeup on. He says, no, I'm serious. I said, what? He said, the governor of Puerto Rico said, as of that morning of that day that we were going to close on the house, he says, everything is shut down in Puerto Rico. Everything was shut down in Puerto Rico. And when I say everything, I mean everything. The grocery stores, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. If somebody doesn't know what I'm talking about, they must have just landed from Mars, because everybody knows what happened on that COVID-19 thing. So we were unable to buy the house. And that only means one thing, that my husband and I were stuck living with my mother and father-in-law for 3 months. Because guess what? All the countries closed their little borders. So even my husband couldn't go back to Germany. He had to work from my mother-in-law's house and my father-in-law's house. We had to get internet because they didn't have internet. And they said, we'll never have internet. Oh no, that's just a luxury. We don't need it. Well, guess what? We got the internet for them so that my husband could work and make a living. And guess what? Now my mother-in-law, she will have an anxiety attack if she doesn't have her YouTube shows to watch. So anyway, I'm getting off track. What I want to say to end this video is, I had been denied the second time, right? At that point, I tried to get a lawyer, couldn't get a lawyer because I was in Germany. So I had to appeal it again on my own. Then the third time I did, I got the third letter that said, you're denied. You're denied again. The Social Security office said that I was not ill enough to go back to work and do the job that I was doing, okay? So I was denied again. So I got to Puerto Rico. While I was in Puerto Rico, my sister-in-law, she had been trying to get Social Security disability. So because I was in Puerto Rico, which is a U.S. territory, I need to stop doing that. It's a U.S. territory. Things in Puerto Rico still have kind of quasi the same things that the United States has. So they do have Social Security offices and post offices and things like that. So even though Puerto Rico's not a state, it's a territory, but we still have the same, more or less, the same kind of administrations, if you could say that. So I called a lawyer that she was using, and I was able to get an attorney. So with that, I'm going to end this chapter because I've already said way so much more about what happened. But again, this is me sharing with you. I'm trying to be transparent and show you that none of us, if you apply for Social Security disability the first time and get approved, I applaud you, and there should be a national, statue for you, because it's not easy. So I hope that you stay strong. Leave a comment. I would love to know at what stage you all are in. If you're just applying, you're going to apply. If you're the second denial, your third denial, anything, just comment. I would like to grow a community, because you know what? It won't feel so lonely. It won't feel so lonely knowing that someone else went through the same horror show. It truly, truly is a horror show. Again, on top of being ill. So I hope everybody has a great day. If you enjoyed the video or any of my videos, do me the favor and subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, and I will prepare myself to continue this story, because like I said, there's more. There's so much more to share with you all. So, the stories, they're gonna be pretty good. So, blessings to all, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day or night, wherever in the world you are, expat or not, okay? And I will see you again in the next video. Bye for now.